गावोगावी घरोघरी ऐकू येई कानी आपल्या भागाचा आपला रेडिओ येरळा वाणी ऐकू येरळा वाणी.
Hello everyone, we are back with another podcast today. Today I am Pranjal and we are with Aparna madam from YPS.
Hello.
So today we are talking about agriculture and how the organization plays a vital role in helping people from a drought prone area to help to get started with agriculture.
Right.
Okay. So as a engineer, maybe I'm a curious engineer, but my first question is why you know that there is no water there, then why get started with agriculture? Why ask people to do agriculture when there is no water at all?
Really a significant question for those who are really not aware of our community. First of all, when we talk about rural India, all rural India economy is based on agriculture. So that is their whole and sole income source, even if it is ample of water or it is no availability of water, doesn't matter. Only thing is that this is the only field where everybody is flexible to work if you don't have or if you have education.
Okay.
That's the beauty of this maybe field, that those people who are not really literate, they feel comfortable to work in agriculture. So over the decades, as you know, we are agriculture oriented country. We are living in such a place. So when we talk about Jalihar, it's the same, that a whole community is involved themselves into agricultural activities. Even though they know that our agriculture is limited, it doesn't support us in a way we need income out of it.
Yeah.
Then what they do is they find out some solutions to get ensure about the food of the family, and that is migration.
Okay.
As we have already discussed with the thing that when there is a drought situations, they migrate as a sugarcane cutting labor in rest of the Maharashtra. So that is quite adoptable solution for those who are familiar with the agriculture and laboring into the agriculture.
Okay, just to get an overview, why is Jalihar in a drought prone area? Why do we call it that?
The area where it is situated in such a geographical area, or you can say climatic phase, where it comes under the rain shadow. So the returning monsoon is the only source of you can say water. As it is far away from Krishna river even, so it's not situated in any of the river banks. So even the water is still away from them. So this community is well aware that we are dependent fully on rainwater to harvest.
Okay.
So this is again limitations for getting good income out of it.
And it has been like this for the longest time?
Yeah, decades you can say, over the decades. So the practices has been developed in that way itself, that they plow when they have some showers, and they wait till they get harvested because of the monsoon season. So everything is like worshipped by the god, rain. They depend on that, and everybody is like, when they don't have that kind of income, they go for something else.
Okay. So I've read a lot about, so again, as an engineer and as a curious person, I think about how, so yeah, we know the problem statement now. We know that it is a drought prone area, and agriculture is a field where you don't need a lot of education to get in. You can understand, you can learn things on the go.
It's quite, you can say, since generation it is just been percolated to the next generation, how you have to plow and what are the you can say equations of determining what crop you are going to get for the year. So this is quite inbuilt, I mean, in the family.
Okay. So now moving to how does the organization help these people.
Yeah.
So the people who are facing these problems, they are not educated firstly. Secondly, they are not experienced because they don't know anything about agriculture because they are in a drought prone area.
Yeah, not only experience, they don't have access to
Yeah.
the information
Yeah.
or resources, you can say. So, in a way, we are there to support them to enrich their knowledge
Okay.
in the sense that they need to have their generations to be educated to bring in progressive techniques because it is essential. Okay, so when you see drought conditions are there, the marginal farmers who have maybe having 5 acres of land but no water to get income out of it, they migrate.
Okay.
So first solution what we have is we don't want these people to be migrated. We want them to be in their own villages and getting good income out of their agriculture.
Yeah.
So when organizations started working with this community, the first step was group irrigation.
Okay.
So the group irrigation is to make such a group empower to come together and share their resources to irrigate their land.
Okay. Okay.
So that they can ensure the income out of agriculture, because rainwater, if whatever crop has been yield on rainwater, that is just for family food. It doesn't give you income
Okay.
like bajra or
Okay.
this kind of a thing. That is food for the family. So that is ensured by the family, but when they need of money, they go for migration.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's the only equation how they solve their problems.
So money problems.
Money problems.
Okay.
So then when we have such a group irrigation schemes, then we promoted them to go for horticulture.
Okay.
Like they started growing guavas, lime, which is quite a good crop for the agroclimatic conditions in Jaliar area. So then there are two ways to think about why the soil is like this.
Yeah.
It is not non-fertile
Yes.
because of lack of water and exposed under the high sunlight. So desertification, prone to desertification is the condition. When it will come long lasting under the greenery, then again maybe the biodiversity will enrich
Yeah.
and then they will get some output out of it. So it
Okay.
is quite shaking hand together with the environment and the family livelihood. So then we started subsoil irrigation project,
Okay.
where the family has been educated to use their resources in smartly to have the horticulture.
Okay.
Okay, so subsoil is the technique where the water and the manures, that is those are essential for the crop, is been given directly to the root of the plant, so the wastage is avoided.
Okay. So basically, all the water directly goes to the roots. Does
Yeah.
not go into the ground.
soil and even not evaporated.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So then it grows. So that way we have pomegranate also,
Okay.
grapes,
Okay.
lime, guava, and you can say chiku.
Yeah.
These kind of fruits are quite familiar, and now majority people are involved themselves into horticulture in that way.
Okay.
Even mango is also promoted by YPS because it is long lasting, it gives good greenery and also economically
It is good.
good crop.
So horticulture. So first was group irrigation. So group irrigation is basically a group of farmers come together and share the resources, right?
For irrigating their lands.
For irrigating them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we move to this
Subsoil
thing.
irrigation.
Okay. No, horticulture.
Yeah.
Horticulture is directly giving water to the roots, not
So
letting it.
using subsoil irrigation technique
Okay.
for cultivation of horticulture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Subsoil irrigation.
Horticulture means a fruit crop.
Okay.
So to have horticulture cultivated,
Hmm.
we use subsoil irrigation technique where you can see here there are the pots. Those are quite near to the roots of the plant. Those
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
planted, and through that you can see even the drip irrigation.
Yeah.
So both together, through the water, the manures goes directly to the root of the plant.
Okay. Okay.
So
okay.
this way subsoil irrigation works. So
Okay.
avoiding the loss of water, even using the manure that has been available with the family effectively. That's the whole thing.
Okay, so this is subsoil irrigation using horticulture. Okay, these are the two. These are the few agriculture innovations that the organization has done. So, can you tell me the differences that, so if you have any stories that you can share.
Actually, see, when a family just grow having some seasonal crops to ensure their food, those seasonal crops are just for 3 to 4 months lasting for 3 to 4 months. There onwards, complete land is barren and kept exposed under the sunlight.
Okay.
So then it becomes deserty prone. Once it is growing with the chiku or pomegranate, those are the crops which are lasting at least 5 years, 3 to 7 years.
Okay.
So when the land is covered by green shade for so long, then it is obviously that it is enriched by the
Yeah.
good microbes cultivation into it and having some moisture, and then that land can be fertile.
Okay. Okay.
So then the family can have good income out of it. So they can sell their fruits in the markets to have the money in their hand. Other land will be rain-watered crops. Those are been for the family, and this is for the income. So that will be, you can say, well management of the resources available
yeah.
with the family. So
Okay.
these kind of around 200 people are involved.
Okay.
Farmers are involved in subsoil irrigation to develop their horticulture.
Yeah.
So that way we have already, you can see here in the pictures, they can have their own crops like this cultivated, and then the migration stops because they have ensured money out of it.
Yeah. So, what are the problems of migration? So, migration is basically when a farmer does not earn enough and he goes to work under somebody else.
Yeah.
Let's say a sugarcane cutting
Yeah.
system, and which basically, what are the problems with that?
Actually, what it is, the landlord of one place goes to other place as a laborer, and the treatment he receives is worst.
Okay.
Like they have to live in very hazardous conditions. The huts are not good enough, hygienic, and even there are many kind of you can say burning accidents are there because of they use the oil lamp to lit up, or
Okay.
they cook their food on the stove, which is fire stove.
Okay.
So the fire accidents took place, or sometimes snakes bites or some accidents took place where, because they are staying in the field where they have to cut the sugar.
Okay. They don't come home also.
No, for the 6 months they will not return
Oh,
back.
Okay.
And the thing is that there are contractors who assign them this work.
Yeah.
They give them money prior to work. I mean, before going to sugarcane cutting, already they have consumed the money.
Okay.
So they are not getting anything returned back after the work, but they
Okay.
are just repaying through their working.
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
scenario.
Okay.
So overall, if you think migration brings lots of social problems,
Yeah.
because they 6 months when they take their children along with them, they have to be away from the education system for 6 months. When they come back, they are nowhere, not for the
Yeah.
previous standard. No,
Not
they
for the
can't able
next
to
one.
go to next one.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing. Then again, the generations, they don't have any other way of occupying themselves when they have such a conditions.
Yeah. Okay.
Secondly, why they go for migration? When they have to pay a big amount for health issues, for marriages of a daughter, or something like that, repairing the house, even bowel.
Yeah.
Digging the bowel is quite significant in that area, because that only ensures the water for them.
Yeah.
So that cost too much. Then they have to migrate for that.
So how much is too much?
Actually, it's quite 20,000 onwards, because they dig sometimes 700
Oh my
feet
God.
down. Yeah, so it's quite table water. You can say it is quite deep now, and since years they are, even that is not assured.
Yeah.
Once you get a water, it is going to be fulfilled for the year. It is not assured one.
Yeah.
So every time they have to go trial and error, doing the trial and error,
Yeah.
and that is quite consuming their energy and money and everything.
Yeah. So I have come across a lot of. So we spoke about grapes, we spoke about lime, we spoke about pomegranates, but So since the last 3 years, I've been hearing a lot about dragon fruit.
Yeah.
I think I have a dragon fruit plant even in my place, and I really like that. So why did the organization move from like, let's say, this thing? What is it called? Grape making to let's say dragon fruit making.
Actually, grapes are really good for, in the sense they get the resins out of it and they can sell it. But the risk factor involved in the grapes farming,
Yeah.
and secondly, investment cost also is there, and input cost, fertilizers and chemicals, whatever they need to use it. It's quite increasing day by day, and marginal farmers, they can't afford to go for grapes farming.
Okay.
They get big setback when such conditions arise, like sudden drought, or you can say change in a climate which affects the grapes immediately. So then what we thought of is to have such a crop which is really feasible for these people. So when you think about dragon fruit, look at the plant, it is obviously cactus family,
Yeah.
and this is really a good crop for these agroclimatic condition where drought is the situation.
Yeah.
So because the crop doesn't need much water, and they even don't need water during summer period when our farmers don't have water to feed a plant.
Yeah.
So it's quite a good and magical way we thought this could work out for our people. And we have a demonstration farm cultivated at Jalihal itself on
Okay.
1 acre. That is just because the farmer can understand how it is applicable for them.
Yeah.
Demonstration is more important for the farmers because they have to see the change.
Yeah.
They can't just understand when
Yeah,
we
yeah.
talk about it. So this is the demonstration plan.
And it is very important to understand that their life depends on it.
Yeah.
So taking a risk, let's say moving from a grapes plant to a dragon fruit plant, is a massive thing for them.
Yes, and even one can see that the loss is big for them.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
a simple single loss, you can
Yes.
say. Even this plant is also involved with huge infrastructure, as you see.
Yeah, in
the
the-
stamps. Yeah.
So can you explain me more about what is this cement thing and
Actually, this is the way you can cultivate dragon fruit. I mean, when you get a pole,
yeah,
and then the upside you can see a wheel kind of a thing from
Yeah.
where the plant grows upwards, and then after the wheel it put themselves downwards.
okay,
When this growth happen, then and then only the plant is ready to bear flowers for
Okay.
fruiting.
okay.
When it goes just a straight way, it will not fruit.
So this looks very similar to the grapes, what we say.
Yeah, infrastructural, it is very similar. So one more experiment has been going on at the YPS farm itself, that why not use the same infrastructure that has been used for the grapes to cultivate dragon fruit, or both together,
Yeah.
so that the same inputs that has been given to the grapes are feasible for dragon fruit also.
Okay.
So there no need to give more extra something to get the dragon fruit. We have already demonstrated it without giving any of the chemicals. You just have to use the drip, as you can see it in the picture, and you don't have to water them during say February to till June. So when there is a huge
Lack of water.
lack of water.
Okay.
And there onwards, when you start watering them, they get started flowering and fruiting gets started. So the season starts from July till October.
Okay. So now we know that this is it is a very good thing to grow a dragon fruit, to have a dragon fruit plant or a cultivation at your place instead of let's say a grape, because lack of water and a lot of maintenance
Yeah,
and all of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So now, as a farmer, that is correct. But as let's say, does it get enough market? Does it?
Yes. Now, if you search it out on the internet, it is internationally known crop.
Okay.
It has international market, but besides going to international market, we have local market already.
Okay.
So as you have already knowing that since 3 to 5 years we are involved into it. So now Sangli market, that is local market, is already developed well for this fruit.
Okay.
Last year itself, 400 tons of fruits had been sold by YPS. I mean, I'm not saying by YPS, but under the guidance of YPS.
Okay.
Because we have a group of farmers who are involved in dragon fruit cultivation under the guidance of YPS. So we inform them there is a platform where we can we get connected with them, like WhatsApp groups and all. So everyday market rate is been given to them.
Okay.
Even we have developed a package of practice. We have saplings to give to the farmers at a very cheap rate, and even a booklet to support how to go into it, even market linkages.
Okay.
So it is quite a package of practice, and we already have more than 100 farmers all together in the Sangli associated with dragon fruit cultivation.
Okay. So if let's say somebody wants to grow them on their own, let's say they want a sapling. So is it possible even in Sangli area? So I know it is possible, but
Yeah.
do you think it is possible to do it on a mass scale?
Yes, it is possible to do it on a mass scale. Even we can ask, see, the group is meant for the same purpose.
Okay.
If a fellow comes to the YPS, I need a sapling. Say YPS don't have right now, but we have farmers who are into sapling cultivation. So we
Okay.
can ask them. So it is quite easy to get the saplings. Even the farmers are assured when we tell them you have to sell the saplings, they are assured about the customer.
Okay.
Customer is already, you can say, can't say customer, but the fellow who is approaching for the help or for the support, for the guidance, is also assured that whatever is been linked by the YPS is quite good quality and all.
Yeah. So this becomes like a multiple market product, because you can sell saplings, you can sell fruits, you can
Yes,
sell like infrastructure for these.
Yeah, we have linkages. We don't
Yeah.
sell it, but we know people who can do this.
Yeah.
So those who are quite new to the practices, we can tell them go where they have to go and how they can get it.
Okay.
So once with the reference of YPS, they can get it in the good way.
Okay. So let's bring this to an end. Let's try to figure out. So if somebody wants to get in contact with the organization, so how can they do it? Or like, what is let's say I'm a farmer and I'm looking for plants or saplings, and I'm looking for a good quality sapling, and I also want to help the farmers in the drought prone area. So how can somebody approach YPS?
Actually, YPS have the contact numbers. We even display some posters in the market where we have dragon fruit sellers.
Okay.
On which we have the contact numbers also. Even I can tell you the office contact number. So
Okay.
it's 0233, it's a Sangli code, and 267-1318 is a landline number when you can approach us for anything.
Okay.
Anything in the sense, if you want to start with the cultivation, if you need a guidance, if you already into it and need a guidance,
Yeah.
or you want to linked with the good market for
Yeah.
the selling of fruits,
Yeah.
or you want to buy the fruits also.
Okay. So we will link the phone number, all the contact
Yeah,
details
sure,
in the description. Okay. So are there any ending thoughts to this? It is a quick, small podcast episode this time.
Yeah, so I just wanted to tell that everything is need based.
Yeah.
So it is not that this is internationally known crop and we want to get it. It's not like that. We were searching for the good, you can say, solution to support grapes farmers.
Yeah.
And this is the good solution, you can say. We find it quite good.
Yeah.
Because these people are having local market, and local market is always, I must say, is you can say flourishing market.
Yeah.
You don't dig into big markets right now when you have good local market.
Okay.
So that is assured. So those who are into or who wants to go with the dragon fruit, we are there to support them.
Okay. So in ending, I would like to say that this is all of this project is. So it might come across for the listeners that YPS is getting something out of it. It is like by promoting, it is getting some margin out of it. So it's not like that at all.
No.
So all of this is done just to help encourage the farmers to be better. to have
Yeah.
a better let's say
Opportunities.
opportunities.
And secondly, why we are into marketing is because this is a new crop,
Yeah.
and farmer don't know where to go,
Yeah.
and we may chalk out some more market, or we may educate people to get this fruit. We
Yeah.
did that also, because now when we go to the market, there are many fruits which are been imported by outside, but the fruit that we produce, that means Indian dragon fruit, that has different taste
Yeah.
than these which are imported.
Yes.
So that difference also we have to tell to the customer,
Yeah.
that this is different,
Yeah.
and this is whole Indian fruit.
Yeah.
So this kind of development, this kind of giving values to what we produce is being done by YPS, which is not a cup of tea of a farmers.
Yeah, and if they focus on marketing, then their focus on agriculture goes away. And
Even they are not so smart enough to
yeah,
do that.
yeah, and it becomes very hard for them, because on one hand they have to take care of their family and all of that, and on the other hand they have to look for market, educate themselves, and all of that. So it becomes very tiresome. So a part of marketing is done by YPS, and they try to just help. So in all of this, YPS tries to just demonstrate what their farms could look like.
Yeah. And secondly, that we have got urge from both the sides. Like we are just linking them.
Yeah.
We are mediated, in the sense we are linking them. We are not at all retailer market or wholesale market dealers.
Yeah.
So we are not into that role. But what we are doing is, we know these people are in need or searching for better and good produce of dragon fruit,
Yeah.
and there are these people who are into it. So
Okay.
we are just linking them through the platform. Those are available with us.
Yeah, so it's a great note to end this episode of the podcast. So I'll link all the contact details in the description. Anybody who has any other questions can just get in contact with
Yeah.
Aparna ma'am, and I'll also include an email address. So if there is a detailed question, we encourage detailed questions. So yeah, I hope to see you guys next time,
Yes.
and let's see. Thank you.
Thank you.